Students, so far we discussed about the changing cultural tradition, that what was the Renaissance movement, what changes took place in that movement, and how it affected the Europe, how the science and technology developed in that period. So thereafter now we will start the next topic, that is the Industrial Revolution. As we know that during the Renaissance movement, a lot of technological development took place in the field of science because new universities were set up, new scientific revolution was also there, like Copernican revolution, which we have discussed. Because of that, there was development in technology, and technological development led to the industrial development or industrial revolution. So here we will study about the industrial revolution. You can see from the image itself that this is the image of a factory of that time when industrial revolution started taking place in European countries, especially in England. So that we will discuss today. Now this is another slide which tells us about the industrial revolution. You can see that this is the map of England, and in England these are the famous industrial centers. One is Glasgow, Newcastle, Kingston, Manchester, Sheffield, Birmingham, and the most important is London, which used to be port as well as an industrial town. So this industrial revolution started taking place initially from this country, that is England. So the transformation of industry and the economy in Britain, and the period was between 1780s to 1850s, and this is called the first industrial revolution. So the question can come, where the first industrial revolution started. So it started from England. Now this phase of the industrial development in Britain is strongly associated with new machinery and technology. So new machinery and technological development led to this industrial development in England, and these made it possible to produce goods on a massive scale. Because of the industry, the production of goods became very faster and it could be produced on a mass scale. As a result, it is called as the industrial development. And mainly this development it took place in the iron and steel and the handicraft and handloom industries. Earlier there used to be handicraft and handloom industries where the production used to be very slower, but after the coming of the mills, because of the new technologies in industrial development, the production became quite faster. Then there was an invention of new technology, and that is the steam technology, and it was a new source of power, and it was began to be used on a wide scale in the British industries. So steam was the latest technology of that time, which resulted in the industrial revolution. Its use led to the faster form of transportation. Steam was used at various places. It was used in the factories. It was used for the transportation by the ships and the railways. Nowadays, the railways are using the engine generally which is propelled by the electricity as well as by the diesel. But earlier, the railway and the ship's engine used to be propelled with the help of the steam technology, and coal was a fuel which was used in that. Industrialization led to the greater prosperity for some. This also led to the difference between the people, or difference among the people on the basis of the economic prosperity. Some people became quite rich because of the coming of the industries, whereas some remained poor, and again their condition worsened because of the industrial technology or industrialization, because they had to live under the poor living condition and working condition, where they had to work for 18 to 20 hours per day, and the living condition was also not good, and that also resulted in the ill health. So the industrial revolution was good for some category of people, and they became quite rich, whereas the poor people suffered a lot and their working and living condition further worsened because of the industrial development. So that we will also discuss in this chapter. Now, who used this term for the first time? You can see that this is the image of Toynbee. So we will discuss who coined the term the Industrial Revolution. Firstly, it was used by the European scholar, that is the Georges Mislet. He was from the France. Later on, the Frederick Engel of Germany used this term, and the same term was also used by the Arnold Toynbee, and he was an English, to describe the change that occurred in the British industrial development between 1760 to 1820. So the period was of 60 years between 1760 to 1820. So this period was termed by the Arnold Toynbee as the British industrial development, and it was the phase 1. Later historians like T.S. Ashton, Paul Mentox, and Eric Hobsbawm broadly agreed with the Toynbee. So whatever Toynbee said, that was also agreed upon by these historians, and they also said that there was a remarkable economic growth between the period of 1780 to 1820. So he said 1760 to 1820, but they said that it was between 1780 to 1820. So there may be slight difference, but most of the people agreed with Arnold Toynbee at that time that the period between 1760 and means the later half of the 18th century to 1820, but the first half of the 19th century was the period where the fastest development in the industries took place, and this is called the Industrial Revolution. Mainly this development took place in the cotton, iron industries, coal mining, building of roads, canals, and the foreign trade. And this phase was called as the Industrial Revolution. Now, this firstly started from England, that we have discussed. So why it started from England? So England, Ireland, and Scotland, these are the three island group of countries which makes the Great Britain. So why it started from the Britain? So there is a question. So there are certain region or certain factors which tells us that why it initially started from the Britain. It had been politically stable. So there was a stability in the England or the Britain since the 17th century, and because in the 1707 that we have already studied in 10th class, Act of Union was passed, and under which act the Scotland was made a part of England. Later on 1801, Ireland was also merged with the England. Wales already became a part of England. So these island groups joined together and they were unified under a single monarchy. So the England or the Britain used to be more politically stable than any other country of the Europe. So that is also a factor, that political stability led to the industrial development, and generally it happens because the decision could be taken in a better way wherever the political stability is there, and because of that the Britain got benefited and the first industrial phase started from the Britain itself. Second was the common laws. Throughout the territory of Britain there used to be common law. There was a single currency and a market that was not fragmented by the local authorities. Means single way of administration, single currency, single market, single weighing and measuring uh, was also there. So these are the factors which led to the ease of the trade, and that led to the industrial development. Money was widely used as a medium of exchange. So in many countries at that time there was barter system, and in barter system the trade becomes quite difficult because it requires double coincidence of bonds. But if money is used as a medium of exchange, then the trade and the exchanges became quite easier, and it used to be there in England or Britain. As a result, it was very easy to do trade with the Britain, and that also led to the prosperity of Britain, and further it led to the development of technology in Britain, and that led to the development of industrial and development in England. Then agricultural revolution. Agriculture and industries go hand in hand. Wherever there is agricultural development, generally the industries also develop. Because of the agricultural development, more raw material becomes available for the industries at a cheaper rate. As a result, industries grow in that place. Then bigger farms, very large estate. Earlier there used to be small peasants and they used to work in the field. But after the coming of the industries, some people became quite prosperous due to the trade and the industries, and they started purchasing land in the rural areas, and in this way the small piece of land from the farmer was purchased by these rich people, and they started making the large estates in which the production used to be very high. So bigger farms led to the higher production, and higher production led to the industrial development. So these are the basic factors which led the Britain to the industrial developmental phase. Now the towns, trade and the finance. So this was also the favorable condition which was there in England. You can see that this is the map of England. Many European cities began to develop their population. So cities started growing at that time, and many European cities became bigger towns at that time. And out of the 19 European cities, which used to be the biggest cities of Europe, whose population doubled between 1750 to 1800. So this was the 50 years time when the 19 European cities population doubled, and out of those 19 cities, 11 were from the Britain. So that is also a testimony in itself that why the Britain became modern, and generally the urbanization happens due to the industrialization or the secondary or tertiary activities. Primary activities generally result in the prosperity of the village itself or the development of village, because agriculture is the backbone of rural economy. But if the urban areas are developing, generally they develop either because of the trade or they develop because of the industries. So the trade and industries, and that is also written over the on the top of it, that the trade and industries led to the development of the British town. As a result, their population doubled within the 50 years. So that was the rapid development of the urban population. The largest city of that time was London. That we have already discussed in the last slide, that London became the most important town of that time. It was also an industrial town, as well as this was also an important port which was situated on the Thames River or Thames estuary. So the trade used to take place maximum from the England to the port of London. So London became the most important town of that time. It was the main trade center as well. Now, so why London became the most important town? There are certain factors that we will discuss over here. London acquired a global significance. It became a global town because that was the period of colonization. And as we know that British colony used to be very vast, and it is said that the sun never sets in the British Empire. So it used to be very vast empire. So the London used to be the capital of the British and the Britain. As a result, the London used to be the most important town of its time, and it was having a global significance. The center of the global trade shifted from Mediterranean port of Italy. Earlier, as we discussed in the last chapters, that Mediterranean Sea used to be the heart of the trade. As a result, it is called as the Mediterranean or Bhumidya Sagar. But now, due to the discovery of the alternative route to India and South Asian countries, which was discovered by Vasco da Gama and certain other explorers, and by that time, the American continent was also discovered. So the maximum trade used to take place from the Atlantic Ocean. So the Mediterranean Sea, which used to be the heart of the trade before that, was not that much important now, and the most important uh, ocean of that time was Atlantic Ocean. And you know that England lies in the Atlantic Ocean, so it is having a better geographical position than any other country of the world. Earlier, Italy was having a dominant position in the Mediterranean Sea, so Italy was developing, but now the same kind of position was acquired by the England, so England also developed at that time. France also developed because it was also situated on the Atlantic coast. Britain, that I told you that England developed means Britain developed. Poland, which is also on the coast of Atlantic Ocean, so maximum trade was taking place between Europe and America at that time, and it was taking place through the Atlantic Ocean. As a result, the countries which used to be at the coast of Atlantic Ocean was becoming more important at that time. Like this is Holland, this is England, and this is France. So these three countries acquired their global significance because of the trade of Atlantic Ocean. Instead of Amsterdam, which is an important city of Holland, which is situated at this place. So Amsterdam was also an important port of its time. It was an important city. But apart from the Amsterdam, the most important city was London. And with the passage of time, London became more important than the Amsterdam because it was also the principal source of loan and international trade. As far as the geography is concerned, both are important ports. London is also an important port. Same way, Amsterdam is also an important port. But London was having certain other features which had made it more important than the Amsterdam, and these are the loan facility and the international trade, which was taking more from London than the Amsterdam. Then comes the triangular trade. London became a network or the center of the triangular trade network. So triangular trade, how it used to take place? The trade used to take place between Britain and Africa in this way. So the finished product from the Britain used to send to Africa, and from there used to be slave trade and trade of other raw material from Africa to England. Mainly it was slave and West Indian countries. These were also under the control of England and some other European power. And from there, tobacco, sugar, rum, cotton, fur, apart from that, the potatoes and some other vegetables were also going to the European countries, especially to the Britain. So in this way, the three locations were connected with each other through the triangular trade, and Britain used to be the center of that triangular trade. And in Britain, the London used to be the center of the triangular. As a result, London developed much faster than any other city of that time. So that we discussed, it includes England, Africa, and West Indies. Many trading companies trading in Asia, like East India Company and America, had their office in London, like the British East India Company, which made India its colony at that time. That was also having its headquarter situated in London. So maximum trade of India, which was done by the British East India Company, that was taking place through the port of London. So London became a worldwide important city at that time. Then comes other factors which made England more important or London more important, and these are called the rivers and the canal transport. At that time, these used to be the most reliable mode of transport and cheapest mode of transport, and these are the rivers as well as the canal transport. In England, network of rivers help the movement of goods. One that I told you, the Thames River, which is also one of the most important river of England, and it is passing through the London. That's why London was situated on the bank of a river, and it became an important trading town because the trade used to take place through the network of rivers and the canals, because these were the primary mode of transportation for the goods and services. You can see that this is an image of a canal, and here how the movement of goods are taking place through the ships and the cargoes. Until the spread of the railway, transport by waterways was the cheaper and the fastest than by the land. That there were only two network of transportations were available at that time. One was through the land route and another was through the waterways. Through the land route, we can take only a limited quantity of goods because it was generally propelled by the horses and bullocks, and they could not carry much load with them. And the second was the water transport. In the water transport, we can carry huge load, and these huge load need to be carried at that time because the industries were demanding it. Because an industry requires a continuous supply of the raw material, and that supply could not be ensured through the land route with the help of the tonga or with the help of a bullock cart. This could be ensured only with the help of the cargo ships, which was propelled at that time through the waterway. So wherever the city was connected through the waterways, there were more chances for its development. And London was such a city, and many other cities of England were also connected through the waterways because there used to be perennial rivers available in England, and there was a better network of rivers. That's why the Britain and the England and London developed. During 1724, English rivers provided 1160 miles navigable water. Mainly the river of England provided the navigable water which was too long up to the 1160 miles. So that is a long waterway which led to the development or connection of different cities of England. As a result, England started to be developing at that time than any other country of the world. Now you can see from the image that this is a coaster. So we will read about the coasters. All the navigable sections of English River flow into the sea, and that sea was the Atlantic Ocean. Cargoes on river vessels, these used to be the small boats or ships which used to carry cargo from the interior of England, was easily transferred to the coastal ships. So these used to be the coastal ships, and these are known as the coasters. And these coasters used to supply the material which used to be produced in England to other parts of the world. And by 1800, a large number of people were employed in it, and that was about 1 lakh people or 1 lakh sailors. These used to work on the coasters. So coasters used to provide a large scale employment to the people of England, and that resulted in the prosperity of England. And the trade was also taking place through these coasters, so that also resulted in the trade benefit of England, and England started developing. And more development led to the more industrial development, more technological development. Then comes the importance of banks. So bank also played an important role in the economy of England at that time, and still the banks are considered to be the backbone of an economy of a country. Like here, the economy is generally taken care by the RBI or Reserve Bank of India. The center of the country's financial system was the Bank of England. So this was the first Bank of England, and it was founded in 1764, not in 1964, it was in 1764. By 1784, there were about 100 provincial banks in England. So there was a large scale development in the banking sector, especially in England. And during next 10 years, it trebled, means it increased 3 times within the 10 years. By the 1820s, there were more than 600 banks in the provinces and over 100 banks in London alone. So there were many provinces in England. So in these provinces there used to be 600 banks, but out of these 600 banks, 100 alone used to be within a city, and that city was the London. So London became the hub of the financial transaction or the hub of the banking system. So that led to the development of the industries because loans could be easily taken from these banks, and loans also play an important role, or credit also play an important role in the development of a country, or especially in the industrial development at that time. So these banks helped industrial development or industrial enterprises of that time. So that is also an important factor why London and England became the center of the industrial development. Now other factors. You can see that this is the first train which was started in England, and this is called as the Stephens rocket. Many poor people from the villages available to work in the towns. As I told you that the small estates of the villagers were purchased by the rich landowners, and these rich landowners made the large estates, and they used to produce a lot, so that led to the agricultural development. But what about these poor villagers who sold their land? So there was no work left behind for them in their village. As a result, these poor people migrated to the cities in the search of job, and banks were ready to give loan to set up industries at that time. So many villagers or many rich people set up the industries, and these industrialists required worker, and the worker used to be the poor villagers who migrated to the cities. And there was also a requirement of good transport network, because industries require transport network. This transport network is required for the supply of raw material, as well as the finished goods must be supplied to other parts of the world as well as the country. So for that we require a good transport network, and that was also available in England. That I shown you through this image, that this is the first railway which was started in England. So that also provided a good transport network. Apart from this railway network, there used to be the canal and river network which was already there in England, that we have already discussed. So these good transport facilities also led to the development of England as the industrial country. Many inventions took place, and out of these 26,000 inventions recorded in the 18th century, more than half were listed for the period, that is 1782 to 1800. So this was the period where maximum invention took place, and this invention also led to the development of industries. So inventions also one of the most important factor which led to the industrial development, like the invention of the steam power, invention of the railway engine,